Welcome back to Retail Therapy on the Sunday Scaries podcast feed. My name's Will DeFries, my co-host, Barrett. How you doing today, Barrett?
Doing all right. Just, hanging around in like a luxury apartment, just getting decked out in all sorts of fall threads, mugging in a camera with my New York Mets hats on.
Dude, I mean, that's just what you do.
That's what I'm doing today. Yeah.
If you're wondering why you're getting this episode today, it's because we're doing an emergency podcast. It's not often we do this. It's actually the first time we've ever done this. And I don't know if maybe we're just in content mode because we just had, a 3-day weekend, didn't get to do anything yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, and also today's just like, it's just a hot news day coming off this 3-day, right? We got all the Don't Worry Darling drama, just like absolutely exploding the internet. And then Kith just dropped his bomb on us today and just like has everybody just, crazed out there.
I thought if you would have told me that we were doing an emergency podcast on a fall drop, there is one company that I think most people would think we were doing it on. That is not the company we are doing it on today. We are here to talk about Jerry Seinfeld for Kith Fall 2022.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning and I saw a tweet from one of the Throwing Fits guys, and it said something about what's the deal with streetwear, and it was a photo of Jerry Seinfeld with his arms crossed, sitting on a chair with the Mets hat, the varsity jacket, everything. And I thought to myself, like, I think this is photoshopped. I don't think this is a real photo. I think they just photoshopped this onto the new Kith launch.
Yeah.
And they're doing a bit. And then I went on my Instagram, and the first thing that showed up was this. And I have to ask you, Barrett, what's the deal?
Oh man, nothing is more fun than doing a Jerry Seinfeld impression. That's the easiest.
Even if you're bad at it,
yeah,
like
it's
great.
Even if you're bad at it, it's a good impression. A lot like pizza. It's a full shoot. What do we got? We got 12 photos here. If you're on kith.com, and there's at least 10 of them on the Instagram. And needless to say, it's been memed. It's been talked about. It's been ridiculed. It's been praised. The reactions have been very mixed, I would say. And I'm very curious to get your take, because I think we each, before we even came and sat down, I think we each gave a tweet or a post about this.
Yes.
And but I don't know if either conveyed our entire, feeling.
Okay, so the reason that I even thought that this was a good idea to do like just a sudden podcast on this was because I have never seen so many people that I would not expect to share something like this. I've never seen that many people share this on their Instagram story. Like every third person that I'm going on my story is sharing this, and these are people that like I think have probably widely panned Kith in the past.
Okay, yeah,
have maybe used the word cringe before. I know some of them have. I've also seen people that I just didn't even know would pay attention to like streetwear brands at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's why you get a Jerry Seinfeld to come in and make just an absolutely massive splash. For me, I mean, there's Kith is always a weird. There's like a razor's edge with me in Kith. There's some stuff that they've released where I'm like, I love this. This is really cool. Like I have a couple T-shirts from them that are some of my favorite staple T-shirts. When they did the collaboration with TaylorMade earlier this year, I was like, they nailed this out of the park. But then they have some other stuff that's just maybe a little too something for me.
Yeah, I mean,
extra.
We can talk just a little bit broadly about Kith here for those that aren't super familiar with the brand. And I don't claim to be the foremost expert on Kith, but essentially, here's my relationship to Kith. Back in the day, I don't know, 10-ish years ago, 12-ish years ago, maybe, there was a guy called Ronnie Fieg. Mm-hmm. Who was in the early sneaker scene, and he was doing a lot of collaborations, primarily with ASICS.
Yeah.
Before ASICS was having the renaissance that it's having in 2022. But like Gel Light 3s, Gel Light 5s, all these like real old school kind of retro looking ASICS shoes with the split tongues, and he was doing all these wild colors, and they were really sought after in the early sneakerhead days. And then he went on to collaborate with New Balance, and somewhere along the way, all of this kind of congealed into him starting his own store, Kith, which I want to say just started out as like as a multi-brand retailer carrying sneakers, his collaborations, and other brands, and then eventually Kith became its own brand as well. They started doing they started putting out their own collections, their own mainline stuff. They started collaborating with more and more brands, and it eventually kind of became it was kind of like a successor to Supreme in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
A lot of the kids, especially on the East Coast and in New York, kind of almost like graduated from Supreme to Kith.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting as you and I have both followed along with Aimé Leon Dore now for at least 5 years. To I think neither one of us like really like got into Aimé from Kith, like from
No.
that direction, like Supreme, Kith, then Aimé. But a lot of people did.
I walked in one day to the conference room at our old employer, and I
Yeah.
saw John Duda at Deuteronomy. I saw him on his computer, and he was looking at a sweatshirt, and I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "Oh, it's his brand. I don't even know how to say it." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Huh, okay,
Yeah.
need to do that."
Yeah, and I don't think John got into it from Kith either.
No,
even though
I doubt it.
And I'm pretty sure Ronnie Fieg is an early angel investor in Aimé Leon Dore. He and Teddy Santis are friends. Yada yada. But it's a big time streetwear brand based out of New York. Ronnie Fieg at the helm that puts out these big full collections now. They collaborate with everybody from BMW to TaylorMade to Coca-Cola, right? Many of the collaborations are what kind of causes some derision
Mhm.
from the viewing public. And they're no stranger to getting big stars
Oh,
in
yeah.
in their campaigns. I think one of the things that we learned today is just how resonant Jerry Seinfeld still is.
That's what's crazy to me. And like you don't see Jerry Seinfeld doing a lot of stuff these days that isn't necessary for him.
Right.
Like he has his things that he does. Comedians in cars getting coffee. I'm sure he's a producer of a million things that we don't realize. I mean, he's still collecting checks from the B movie, which has to be big for him.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that Jerry Seinfeld and just Seinfeld as a show and everything about it, the Seinfeld world, it was a cultural phenomenon that changed television forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Today we learned that his face still moves anything, like anything.
It does. And this was a big deal. I one of the reaction tweets that I saw was like that was basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like, all right, well now Aimé has to get George Alexander to like recreate
Jason Alexander?
I'm sorry, thank you. Jason Alexander to recreate the ALD meme that was going on.
The Woolrich puffy
Yes.
coat one.
Yeah, and
That's an all time.
That's why this is like such a natural marriage, I think, is because Seinfeld has been like a real like source of style inspiration in the 2020s, especially. Like it's constantly referenced.
He's the dadcore guy.
There are all sorts of connections to what's hot now. You can look back at Seinfeld and see and kind of see the origins of a lot of it, or at least a place in time there in the 90s where very similar looks were hot, whether it's the kind of the nouveau prep that George that wears on the show. Kramer is basically a Bodie model on the show.
Yeah.
Like it's
His
all,
color palette
it's all super cropped camp collars and like baggy trousers. It's crazy. Jerry constantly wore like limited edition Nikes and Jordans and
all the time.
and stonewashed dad jeans, like you're saying. So like
There's
it's
a
really
great Instagram feed that has they just finished this past weekend where they took every single episode and screenshotted like almost every fit for 10 slides. They just finished this past weekend of just, doing that, and you realize how much, especially in 2022, is drawn from that time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how relevant some of the stuff that they have there.
Yeah. So it all should be a very natural fit. This is where I'll start to turn into how I actually feel about the photo shoot in the campaign, which is to put it shortly, not good. Jerry looks great. He's 68 years old. He's got it going on. But these looks that they put him in, this collection, it's too much. It's too young, and it's not. It's just not flattering on a man that's approaching 70 years old. Like this.
I think that's my issue too. The
this
flattering
is screaming
part
in my face, like, "Hey, you can't wear streetwear forever." And I'm gonna pull this up. I don't know.
Are you
why
having
we
a
don't already
dark
have this up.
realization today, Barrett?
Yeah,
that
kind
this
of.
might be over.
And it's something that I've talked about before. Like, I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30 at this point, that this year of our Lord 2022. So it definitely is something that I've had to start thinking about or reckoning with. And here's the thing: as we look through these photos, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you, of Jerry. There's a lot of prints going on. There's just a lot. He's wearing a varsity jacket that's covered in stuff. He's got the printed fleece or the printed jacket or the printed shirt. This is the one especially that I tweeted out where he's got like the striped hat with the suede brim and the half zip sweatshirt that's got a logo on it and the printed fleece on top of that and the embossed New York Mets Wallabies. Like it's too much. And so what I want to compare to real quick is there's 3 other kind of big New York names that have done this already. Steve Buscemi, John Turturro, and Adrian Brody. Mm-hmm. And they all just got way more like age appropriate looks.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
Buscemi got like great knitwear and cool cardigans, and they put him in like some normal approachable shoes instead of glowing green Air Max 95s. John Turturro got put in New Balance, right? Like the classic, they put a dad in dad shoes.
I couldn't stop looking at this collaboration and not think about him sticking a ruler down his New Balances to scratch his psoriasis or whatever he had from the night of. I couldn't stop. And he will be, I feel bad saying this, he is forever ruined as an actor for me because of the foot itching in that show, which is so undeserved.
Adrian Brody, who's a little bit younger than these other guys, like looking pretty hard in like a vintage car, vintage BMW. And he just got, he got top coats and like more normal, age appropriate like stuff that's like obviously very cool, very trendy, very Kith still. But Jerry, it's like he's wearing kids' clothes or something. Mm-hmm. It's mm-hmm. It's just I just feel like they went too far, and I don't think they did him any favors by decking him out in like the loudest things from the collection.
Yeah, the biggest miss for me was like the printed shirt that we're seeing here, the blue printed shirt. To me, this looks like something that Cam from Modern Family would wear, and that is not necessarily something that's like a compliment. And I'm sure there's some people that can pull that off. Jerry Seinfeld is unfortunately not one of those people. But you're right. And I'm sure like the first outfit that we see on this lookbook was the varsity jacket with the Mets hat, with the faded jeans, with the shoes. That is something that he's probably worn before, probably not at this scale of decoration and whatever.
Yeah.
But as you keep going down the lookbook, it starts to get to the point where it's like he has to feel a little like weird putting this on, being like, well, this isn't natural.
And he looks uncomfortable in these photos too, which is another thing that I would add. Buscemi, Brody, Turturro, these guys look pretty chill, pretty natural in their photo shoots. And like on Jerry's face, like in this photo right here, I don't know if he's totally comfortable with what they've got him in.
Yeah, he's got some of those things floating around. Like he took a risk and he's looking in the mirror before going out, worried that his boys are going to make fun of his new shirt that he got.
Yes,
you got to be careful.
Yeah. Oh man, and then this last one is you mentioned, I think right before we started that the hats were kind of an issue too. Just in general that every photo has to have that he's in a hat.
I'm not a big hat person most of the time. And so and I don't picture Jerry Seinfeld being a flat brim guy.
In this final photo where he's in like the paisley printed denim set, again, something that just doesn't work on him really. And then they had to put him in this hat that's just kind of like perched atop his head with the flat brim. Like he doesn't know what to do with it.
Here's what I have to ask. Here's what I have to ask. Do you think they thought about this beforehand? Dressing him younger because it makes it more shareable, makes it more of a conversation, makes it more reshareable because it's more kind of outrageous and out there? Or do you think it's just the nature of the beast that it's Jerry Seinfeld and people are going to share stuff that he does that's out of his norm? This is so out of his norm for what he usually does.
Yeah. I think that they could have put Seinfeld in any of these other campaigns that feel more age appropriate, and it would have been very, very buzzy still and talked about. But obviously the fact that they went like full on, I'm doing air quotes here, like elevated streetwear with all the prints and all the hats and like everything like that, it has certainly garnered more reactions, more tweets, more Instagram posts, more shares. So whether that was calculated, whether they knew that like putting him in skinny jeans and Air Max 95s with a printed fleece and a graphic sweatshirt was like, we're just going to do this over the top and get people to talk about it. Maybe I'm a little surprised that, like you said, he doesn't have to do this. Jerry does not need this.
No.
So part of me is surprised that he didn't like look down at this outfit or look in the mirror while they were getting him dressed and be like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
It's
Barrett,
the puffy shirt all over again.
it is the puffy shirt. No, it's the pirate shirt. Do I need a pirate shirt for Italy?
Yeah.
I might get one.
Yeah.
Barrett, because of this today, I have to bring up a prompt of sorts, a talking point.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, let's say that you and we actually talked about this on Club Cool one time in the last few months. We talked about if we started a menswear brand, what we would start, what we would do. I'm going to take it one step further and assume that we've already started our very successful menswear brands.
Okay.
If you could have any major celebrity, and you can choose more than one, I don't care how many you toss out there, because I have 3 in my mind that I would like to use for just menswear. Who are you going to choose to be the face of your fall 2022 launch?
Yeah. Okay. Off the top of my head, and maybe this is some recency bias, but I feel I'm more plugged into soccer than I ever have been.
Okay.
And I feel like you got to get a footballer
Okay.
in there. And right now my guys would be like Pulisic, gotta rep the USA. I need to see him get a win with what's going on there at Chelsea. And then Erling Haaland. Did I say that right?
I don't know. I whisper it every time I say it.
But this dude is absolutely crushing it right now, and he looks like a Targaryen. So it's awesome.
He's also well known for his summer vacation fits that he does that are just matching sets the entire time. Loud florals, bucket hats.
And then as far as like, I'm always in the music world, I'm always a big Weeknd guy. Mm-hmm. He's like my go-to answer for like who I want to hang out with in Vegas for a weekend.
It's a good answer.
So he's very high on my list. And then as far as like young Hollywood, maybe getting like an up and coming actor in the mix, like. Again, maybe it's recency bias, but like I gotta shout out the Top Gun 2 guys, Miles Teller, Glenn Powell. Like,
we could probably get Glenn. We got the connections.
Maybe
we could pull some strings. See, you're going in a little more like I'm going in the direction I shouldn't be going with mine, which is the shareable memes.
Let's hear it.
So like my first inclination obviously was to go Kelsey Grammer and do like some type of Frasier thing. I think it'd be funny just to redo this entire shoot with Kelsey Grammer. And I might just do that anyway.
They probably don't have odds on this, but Kelsey Grammer in a Kith shoot, he's another New York guy.
Yeah.
Like
big New York guy.
They probably have reached out to him. He's probably on Kith's wish list to get in one of these shoots.
I hear there's a conference room table in Queens right now where there's a bunch of dudes from ALD sitting around and they're like, we can't do Kelsey Grammer for ALD because this DeFreeze kid, his head will literally explode. After Kelsey Grammer, I was like, okay, I need to get something a little more like something that makes a little more sense. And I went with Billy Crystal. Okay. Because again, New York guy. Again, he has been. I retweeted something yesterday that is just an all-time fit from him, where he was. It's a photo screenshot from When Harry Met Sally, and he's running across the street wearing an outfit that I would love to recreate someday. And it's just a pair of like normal jeans, a waxed jacket, turtleneck, and a Yankees cap. Mm-hmm. All-time photo. I wish you could put it on the screen right now, but I did not prep you for this. But I was just like, yeah. But if let's just say that Sunday Scaries has its own brand right now, and we do a big fall winter launch. This is where I think I actually crushed the person that I would have do it. Okay, are you ready for this, Barrett? I think you're going to be very happy with my choice.
All right. I'm listening.
Because of Sunday Scaries, because of the idea of the brand being sad on Sunday, I am 100% going to deck out Jeremy Strong in the Sunday Scaries line of products. And it's just going to be him looking upset the entire time, just staring at the ground, just being, a really good being one. Mad, being sad.
That's good.
It was the best one that I could have possibly come up with.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You kept it far more in the vein of like what Kith does. I just wanted to bring up like something from Kith's current main line to show you that it's not just limited to the celebrities. Ronnie likes to use older gentleman models.
Yeah.
And so like that's definitely something that they're kind of pitching right now. Is I feel like it's probably pretty smart, right? Because it's like they've got the kids, they've got the young guys. I think he's making a concerted effort to show like you don't have to be 25 to look good in our stuff. We're making this for everybody. Look at all these older guys with the swag. Ronnie's probably listening, and I guarantee you, if Billy Crystal and Kelsey Grammer weren't at the top of the list, they are now.
You know where to find me.
Yeah,
Ronnie, you know where to find me.
Those are perfect.
They're
those
perfect.
Are absolutely perfect.
They're perfect
for a future Kith campaign. Do you think these? You know who this all makes me think about? Like, you know where, like, how heads would just explode if this guy, rest in peace, was still with us and could do these. JFK Jr.
Yes. So that was another one that I thought of. I've actually, I used to meme him once in a while, and I've since taken a hard stance on memeing him because it just makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't even do I try not to do very many Princess Diana ones anymore because I'm like, I can't meme dead people. There's something that feels weird about it.
Yeah.
But then think of James Gandolfini in one of these. Think of it would just be great.
Yeah.
It would be so funny to see him just doing something like that.
Yeah,
I can see him. He would be on the ALD one though. I think he'd be on one of the ones where you're scrolling.
Family
you're on the 8th slide, and you're like, oh, they got
yes.
Gandolfini and put him on the 8th slide. That's such an unnecessary flex.
Yeah.
Something you were going through the history of Kith earlier, and it made me remember that there's one YouTube channel that I get suggested all the time called Threducation. Have you seen this? They do a lot of histories of a lot of popular brands these days. That gives you a lot of it just gives you a lot of insight to watch this based on, how much I've enjoyed it. They've got the history of Arc'teryx, Alexander McQueen, Comme des Garçons, Pharrell Williams' story is what they call it. But they just have all these different brands that you might not have good information.
Premier League. So sorry about that.
I always have a hard time remembering if the double A's are in the beginning of the name or at the end of the name. That's where I always get screwed up. Not proud of it. Well, I think that's all she wrote for our little Jerry Kith mini pod.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts, Barrett?
No. You've actually made me excited to see who they get next because we just went through and I get it. I get why they get these kind of gritty New York guys. I just don't think this one hit. Well, it obviously was a hit. It did not work aesthetically for me as well as the others did. But I'm excited to see the continued reactions to it.
Are you surprised they didn't take more inspiration from his original apartment?
No.
That might have been too on the nose.
It would have been it would have been a little too they still got to hit their color palette and their own, modern archival.
That might have been too much.
Mahogany aesthetic.
Yeah.
So